Dr. Emma Lawson was a renowned psychologist specializing in the study of phobias and fear responses. Her work had brought her international acclaim, but it also made her the target of unusual requests. One evening, as she was preparing to leave her office, an unexpected email appeared in her inbox. It was from a reclusive billionaire, Victor Halstead, who invited her to his secluded mansion to study a peculiar phenomenon that he claimed was driving him to madness. Intrigued by the challenge and the promise of a substantial fee, Emma accepted the invitation. She arrived at Halstead Manor, a sprawling gothic estate nestled deep in the misty woods. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the mansion itself seemed to breathe with a malevolent life of its own. The iron gates creaked open, and she drove up the winding path, feeling a sense of dread settle over her. Victor Halstead greeted her at the door. He was a tall, gaunt man with hollow eyes and a haunted expression. "Thank you for coming, Dr. Lawson," he said, his voice trembling. "What I am about to show you is beyond explanation." He led her through the darkened hallways, past rooms filled with antique furniture and portraits of long-dead ancestors whose eyes seemed to follow them. They descended into the basement, where Victor revealed a hidden door. Behind it was a room unlike any other Emma had ever seen. The room was filled with strange, grotesque sculptures and bizarre artifacts. At the center stood a large, circular mirror, its surface swirling with shadows. Victor explained that the mirror was a family heirloom, passed down through generations. It was said to be a portal to another dimension, a place inhabited by entities that defied human understanding. Victor recounted how, as a child, he had seen shapes moving within the mirror and heard whispers calling his name. As he grew older, the entities became more aggressive, manifesting physically and tormenting him. Emma, the skeptic, demanded to see the phenomena for herself. They sat in the room, the only light coming from the flickering candles. Hours passed in silence until suddenly, the mirror began to ripple like water. From its depths emerged a figure, skeletal and otherworldly, with hollow eyes and a twisted grin. It was followed by others, each more horrifying than the last. The creatures moved with an unnatural fluidity, their eyes locked onto Emma and Victor. The air grew cold and the whispers began, a cacophony of voices speaking in a language that chilled Emma to her core. The entities surrounded them, their malevolent intent palpable. Emma and Victor were paralyzed with fear as the entities closed in. The largest one, a towering figure with tendrils sprouting from its skull, reached out and touched Victor. He screamed in agony as his body convulsed, his eyes rolling back into his head. Emma watched in horror as his flesh began to wither and decay before her eyes. With every ounce of strength she had, Emma broke free from her paralysis and ran. She fled up the stairs, the entities in pursuit, their whispers growing louder and more frenzied. She burst through the front door and into the night, not stopping until she reached her car. Emma returned to the city, but she was never the same. The entities haunted her dreams, their whispers invading her mind. She became a recluse, obsessed with finding a way to understand and possibly destroy the mirror. Years later, she succeeded in tracking down the origins of the cursed object. It had been created by an ancient cult that worshipped the entities, believing them to be gods. They had imbued the mirror with dark magic, binding the creatures to it. Emma returned to Halstead Manor one last time, determined to end the curse. She shattered the mirror with a sledgehammer, releasing a blinding flash of light. The entities screamed in rage as they were banished back to their dimension. Though the mirror was destroyed, the experience left an indelible mark on Emma. She continued her research, delving deeper into the mysteries of the supernatural. Her work became a beacon for those who had encountered similar horrors, offering them hope and guidance. But in the dark corners of her mind, Emma knew that the entities were not truly gone. They lurked in the shadows, waiting for another opportunity to cross into our world. And she vowed to be ready when that day came, no matter the cost. The mansion stood empty, a silent sentinel to the horrors that had unfolded within its walls. The whispers had ceased, but the shadows remained ever watchful, ever hungry. And somewhere in the forgotten corners of the world, the entities bided their time, waiting for the next soul to call them forth.